Bruh, the competition's in a week and you guys haven't started studying yet. This is crazy. Come on, you gotta know better than that. What? Come on. So if you didn't know already, you should have known already. The next USACO, the first USACO contest of this year is happening in a week, okay? It is happening on December 18th to December 21st. And now it is time to get you guys ready. Let's do it. Hello everybody, I'm Kara, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a couple more last minute tips for the USACO contest coming up. I know I've done like 5 million videos on this, no, like two other videos, but like on those videos, I kind of talked about how to study for it and how to how the competition works. But today, we're going to be focusing on problem-solving tips and that kind of stuff. And also, before we get into the video, I know I've not been posting recently because, dude, last week was so hecking busy, it was crazy. I literally had a multi-test on Wednesday, then I had to work on newspaper for straight for 8 hours on Thursday and Friday, so I didn't have any time to do anything. Okay, so we're back. And I've also barely started regular decision, the college app, so I should probably get on those too. We'll see if I can make videos, okay, we'll see. But we can make this one, okay, so let's get into it. Alright, so why don't we start with before the contest, what the heck you should do. So the first thing you want to do is you want to have a template file, okay? During the competition, you don't want to waste time writing all your, file input and output, okay? That should already be done. Second, you should have a list of algorithms and concepts that you know, okay? I'll link the list that I put together in the description. It has, the algorithm strategies that I personally think are used in bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, but USACO Guide, that website is the go-to place, so if you want to get a really good, comprehensive list of algorithms, go there. Now, I think this is the most important thing to do before the competition, right? Obviously, I personally did not use a list per se, but I basically had one in my head before. I just, thought of, what do I know? Go through that, and that's how I would solve problems. This is literally the best thing you could do to study. Going through problems the week before the test doesn't make any sense, right? First off, you might be doing a bunch of problems that have the same idea. That's, a waste of time. And also, just doing random problems might not give you a good, understanding of all the stuff that you might have to know, and also you're wasting a ton of time implementing, so that's another waste of time. What you should have been doing is solving problems beforehand, but now that you're a week before the competition, focus on keeping track of what you know and make sure you know how to do what you know, okay? So write down everything you know and then go through each one and make sure you know how to implement it, right? If you don't know how to implement something, you forgot how Crust works exactly, just search it up, maybe write down the pseudocode if you want, right? If you put all the pseudocode in one place, that might help you out during the actual competition. Now, some people, they literally pre-implement all their algorithms, right? They have a Crustal implementation in C++, they have a Prim implementation in C++, all that good stuff, but I really think it's unnecessary, right? The hardest part about problem solving in USACO is the problem solving, right? Implementation is not going to be the hardest part until you're in gold or platinum. So once you have your list of algorithms down, you know how to implement everything on your list of algorithms and strategies, and if you need it, you have your pseudocode down, then you actually gotta prepare for the test by sleeping, okay? Sleeping is actually pretty important. It's actually a lot more important than you might think, right? If you have a good night's sleep, you're gonna be thinking faster. It's just a proven fact, or is it a proven fact? I have no idea, but to me it's a proven fact, okay? And of course, depending on your preferences, take it at a good time for you. Now for me, personally, that's in the morning, okay? I know that's not very popular, but honestly speaking, when I get into the night, I just want to play video games, okay? Morning is meant for useful stuff, late night is for playing video games, okay? Of course, I'm not very energetic right after I get up, right? If you talk to me right after I got up, I still seem like a zombie. You wouldn't be able to tell the two apart. But, still, in the morning is better, okay? Personally. And then once you've chosen time, if you're planning on, getting in-contest promoted, then you probably, take it earlier than later. But once you set a time, you should be good. And then the last thing to prepare, just make sure you submitted at least one USACO problem. Dude, it's so sad. One of my friends literally came up to me and he's like, I knew how to solve the problem, but then I submitted it, and it didn't work. And I spent an hour trying to get it to work. And I'm like, bruh, have you never submitted a USACO problem in your life before taking the USACO? What? Okay, I don't know how you guys are preparing for the USACO, but if you haven't done so already, make sure to at least, get one thing fully green, okay? Just practice submitting, please, I beg. Because during the competition, you don't want to waste time debugging why your buffered writer is not printing to the right file or something. Just make sure you prepare that ahead of time. All the problems on the USACO website, all the past problems, they have auto grading, so just practice there. It's going to be exactly the same on the actual competition. Okay, so now that's all the before the contest stuff. Now we actually got to use the stuff we prepared. So during the contest, the first thing, I've talked about it in the previous video, just don't get stuck on one problem too much, okay? The best strategy is to spend at most 20 minutes on any single problem, right? If you get stuck on one problem, you're just staring at a paper for 20 minutes and you have no idea how to start, it doesn't help to keep staring at it. You might as well then move on to another problem, leave it jumbling in your head, and maybe while you're working on a different problem, it strikes you, right? And the good thing about that is you've also read the other problem, so while you're implementing that new, breakthrough you got on the first problem, the other problem is going to be jumbling around in your head too. So it's a win-win situation. And then in terms of the normal problem-solving tips, The first step that I always take to solving problems is just write down everything you notice about it, right? Just like put down the test case, just like notice like, oh, is this a tree? Is it not a tree? Could I root it? Could I do this? Try playing around with it, see what you can notice. What ways could I solve it? Do I have to find the exact number, or could I find the exact number that it isn't and then relate that somehow to the number I'm trying to find? Yeah, just try a bunch of random stuff and write it down, and it'll help you a lot. Like literally problem solving, just try as many things as you can, and hopefully one of them will be right. Of course, some people have better intuition about what's right, but like everybody tries a bunch of stuff before they get the answer. So if you looked at the test case, you don't notice anything cool, maybe it's not working out for you, then make up your own test case and try solving it from scratch, right? Because the way you go about solving a problem, right? Like if you like find the answer through your own means, that's probably going to be applicable to the computer, right? Like the way you solve a new test case is probably how the computer should solve that new test case. Unless it's DP, of course. Then you just got to be completely big brain to somehow figure out the state and whatever. But for every other algorithm, it's probably going to be similar to how a human would do it. And if you still don't know, after you've tried solving a couple test cases yourself, then you could go through your list, okay? Just go through it methodically. Like first one, could I apply greedy to this problem? Like, I always start with greedy, okay? Greedy is the first thing you should try for a problem, and if you can't think of any greedy, then you should move on to the other stuff, because greedy is generally the fastest, and it's the easiest to implement. And chances are the strategy is going to be on your list somewhere, so, like, if you just go through it, it might be slow, right? But, like, you already tried other stuff, so you might as well, like, just go through it methodically. Now, of course, there's no guaranteed way to solve a problem. I can't, like, tell you, do exactly this, and you're guaranteed to solve a problem. Those are basically my main tips though, right? Like try as much stuff as you can, try solving it yourself, right? Like don't even think about the computer, just see how you would do it personally, and then see if you could transfer that to the computer, and then go through it methodically. Those are the 3 things that I would do. Okay, other tips, just final tips, just in terms of like efficiency, right? Don't start implementing until you actually find the solution, okay? Like one time I thought I had the solution, but I didn't think about it that much. So I started implementing, and halfway through, it was like a really bad implementation. I was like, oh shoot, this is not gonna work. So I wasted like 1.5 hours doing nothing. It's so bad, god dang it. So like before you start implementing, try breaking your algorithm with a couple test cases, and if it passes even those really weird test cases, then you're probably fine, and then you could go implement it. And like testing it out takes barely any time. Wasting time implementing something incorrect takes a lot of time. So it's better just to test it out first and then implement. Another thing that a lot of people do is they like debug using breakpoints and stuff. Like obviously that's cool, right? Like you could look at everything, all the possible variables that are there, and it's pretty easy, right? But like I think print statements are just faster in general, right? All you gotta do is you type print, you click play, it prints out exactly what you want. It doesn't print anything more. You don't have to click anywhere to get the data. It just prints out exactly what you want. That also means you don't have to use an IDE. That also means that like it'll be a lot faster. It also means you could print out like different combinations of variables, right? You could print something plus another thing. So personally, use print to debug. In C++ use cout, in Python use print, in Java use system.out.println. It helps a lot. It's a lot better than like breakpoint debugging, in my opinion. And then lastly, another thing that like trolls a bunch of people is be liberal with your memory usage, okay? USACO is mostly on the speed, right? So like as long as you're within the memory limit, you could go a little bit over. So if like n is 100,000, do like 100,005, right? You might as well have a little bit of extra just in case you mess up your indexing. You don't want it to error out. Also use longs, right? Like what happens if there's a tiny bit of overflow, it's going to mess up your entire algorithm. So you might as well just make everything longs or longs as big as possible without going over the memory limit. Okay, so that's basically all my tips for during the contest. And finally, after the contest, just don't worry about like how you did, right? Like you can't change how you did in the past. There's nothing you could do. Just wait for results to come out, see how you did, figure out what the actual solutions were, learn from it, right? Like just see how to implement those actual solutions, see what you could have thought, what your thought process could have been in order to find the solution, all that good stuff. And then if you go through the solutions and you see an algorithm you don't know, read up on it. Like go to Geek for Geeks, find variations of the algorithm, all that good stuff. And lastly, ask me if you have any questions. That is a very good point. That's the last thing you gotta do. But yeah, you guys are gonna do great. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more. Let me know what else you guys want to see. If you guys have any questions on the USACO before it happens or after it happens, just leave a comment down below and we should be good. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching again, and see you guys next time!